How we look? How's that look? Oh, that looks pretty good too. That looks good also. Let's go back over to Instagram. There we go. Instagram fired up. Let's plug this in. Everybody loves Raymond. ELR 360 live on a rare Monday night. Hello, everybody. Okay, we plug that in. All right, Tom Caltabiano here. Oh, yes, I have to line up. Let's do this, shall we, Tom? Always suspicious of people who talk to themselves. Okay, yes, there we go. Hello, everybody. Hello, Thomas Gerard. I already forget, Thomas Gerard, you're in Orange County, right? And I thought you were in the UK. Is there someone else named with that exact name who's posing as you, or am I just wrong? I think it's the latter. Okay, let's see if that went live. Yep. Okay, here we go, and that's live. And let's check on our audio, which always seems to give us trouble. Yes, that is good, and the camera looks good. All right, camera looks good, and the audio looks good. The mixed pre-TED, good. Okay. All right. Hi, Mona. How's Montreal doing? Okay, that's me reading. Gil, what are you doing up? You're going to get credit, and then immediately you should go to bed. Because, I don't know, do you have to work tomorrow morning, which is this morning over there? Hi, Donnell. Good evening. Yes, Thomas Gerard. So I don't know why there's somebody else named Thomas over in the UK. There's been probably worse accusations of people. Hi, Kim. Yes, sorry, everybody. I was driving from San Diego all the way up to Los Angeles. So it's a very long drive. And that drive, so can I give it in mileage? Probably. It's probably only 150 miles, but it can take you 2 hours and 10 minutes, or I've taken up to 5 hours and 30 minutes to make that drive. So unless you've experienced it, it is tough, but it is what I would call fortuitous because, hello, everybody. Tom Caltabiano here talking to you on the Monday, effectively the Monday when the finale would have aired 21 years ago. 21 years ago on CBS. Okay, I'm turning on another device. I'm surrounded by devices here, people. In our fancy schmancy studio. Yes, is that going? And connected and bingo. Okay, great. Let's say hello to a lot of people. Hi, Deb Tuck. I know you said you get up extremely early. 80 degrees in Phillipsburg, New Jersey was high in the 90s. Okay. For those of you around the world that don't know, that's very, very unusual. It is very unusual. Indeed. Hi, Fly Lady. Hi from Southeast Candace. I watch till the severe storms hit. Is that every day, Sandy Phillips? Is that potentially every day? Let's see. Kim, statute of limitations worn off. You must have a lead foot to do 150 miles in over 2 hours. Let's see. 100 miles an hour, I would make it in. So I'll have to look at the mileage and the time. So, yeah, you can make it. You can make it there. No comment if there's statute of limitations. I will drive fast if it's safe. Hi, Cindy. Cindy Zapata. Okay, oh, you know what I can do? Do I want to plug that in? Let me get my hard drive here. Oh, no, you know what? Oh, I do need that. What is Tom talking about? Need what? Plug what in? So, let me see. This is a hard drive, folks. And on this hard drive, do I have still a way to plug it in? So that's powering that. That's powering the computer. Oh, I could risk losing the power to the computer. Let's do that. let's just take that risk right now, and then we fire this up, and then we go from there. Because how much power do I have? I have a lot. Why, Tom? Who cares? Okay, so what I'm going to do is, if I plug in that hard drive, then I can open up something called Lightroom, and that's where every single photo that has been digitized, probably 3,000 of the 30,000 have been digitized. Okay, let's plug that in now. Okay, the ginger ale question. Almost everybody who's followed me from the beginning knows the ginger ale question, the answer to the ginger ale question. Oh, this seat keeps, this is an adjustable seat, and I keep sinking. Yeah, I'm going to have to accept. That is my fate. TV's Ray Romano drank a lot of ginger ale because the real life, TV's Ray Barone drank a lot of ginger ale because the real life Ray Romano does not drink coffee, tea, anything caffeinated. He doesn't drink alcohol. He never had a drinking problem. He just knows what he likes, and that's what he likes to drink. And so he started drinking ginger ale early on, and I believe Rhonda, who is our head of props, the head of the props department, she sourced ginger ale for him. There was no promotional consideration, paid for by Canada Dry Ginger Ale. Shout out to all our Canadian friends. And the small bottles were kind of so Ray didn't waste time and he had something to do. So that is why Ray Barone drank a lot of ginger ale. I wish there was a more exciting answer, but that is the answer to that question. And welcome everybody who's never seen me before, who have never seen me before. I am Tom Caldabiano. I was a writer on Everybody Loves Raymond. I was there from the beginning of the show to the end of the show. I knew Ray from doing stand-up comedy way back at the Improv in New York City. We played softball together he had a brother who's a policeman who was the captain of the team who took it very seriously. So Ray and I bonded over that. I played left field, and Raymond played center field. He did a guest spot on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. I attended that in California. Then he did not develop a sitcom until, I want to say, 4 years later. So is it May of 1995? I believe he did Letterman. I was there for that. From that, he got something called a development deal where Letterman's people said, we would like to develop a sitcom. And so they looked for writers. Ray had a first choice. It was not Phil Rosenthal. His second choice was Phil Rosenthal. So the first choice was not available. And thank goodness he went with Phil Rosenthal, who wrote a pilot. Then the show got picked up, and Ray moved out in July of 1996 to Los Angeles, and I moved out here with him because Raymond had worked 1 year prior, I believe it was 1 year prior exactly, on a show called News Radio, and he lasted 1 day and was fired. So now he's starring in his own sitcom, and he goes, you know what? I lasted 1 day. I probably will get fired or won't go. Why move my twin boys and my daughter all the way out from New York City, which is his home, to California just to have to move back. So we stayed in an apartment, and above us was Peter Boyle. A lot of the storylines came from our time together because I was a single guy and Raymond was married, and his wife Anna was very adamant about not having girls over, etc. Then the show got picked up, and then it went for 9 years, and it brings us to this evening, which was the finale, the final episode. All right, there's the summary for those of you who go, who is this guy? How dare he think that he knows anything about the show? And also, wow, did I forget both of my teas? I was sent this nice tea, but I left the mug in the other room. So here we go. See, Tom has to get his head out. Once Tom's head is out, then we have no problem showing. So thank you, Janet, for sending me this delicious tea. It looks very fancy schmancy, way out of my price range, from a hotel where? The hotel, let me see, what is it here? The Hotel Bennett Blend. Hotel Bennett Blend. I got to put in the right syllable. I have to stress right syllable. Yeah, I think I left both my mugs in my other office area. This is an unfortunate turn of events. But what are you going to do? I'd have to leave a blank screen, or I could bring something else up. Okay, let's fire up Lightroom and then talk to some people and then get into the details about the final episode. Okay, Adobe Lightroom Classic. Yes. Also, for folks who have never seen me before, I also saved from the dumpster 210, let's see, this doesn't go away, 210 scripts. Okay, scripts that were going to go into the dumpster. They look like this, and in each script are Polaroid photos of every episode of every scene of every episode of every season from the wardrobe department, and I also have them from the props department. So as I can say, oh, I know, let me bring that up here. Okay, this now works. Let's do this. So now I have access to every single photo, and I can do a sloppy way. Okay, I do want to do a survey. Okay, hold on. Let's see what we got here. Let's say hi to some people. 90 degrees in Delaware, Linda, Lawrence. This time of year, really every day, Tornado Alley. Okay, sorry to hear that. Yes, I know some people from, where is it? Missouri. Is that up there? Hi, Heather from Northern California. Hello from Sandusky, Ohio. Kathy, a familiar face. Canada Dry Ginger Ale. Yes. You are missing the Mets game, Tom. The last I checked, okay, so for those of you that don't know, I am wearing a Mets hat. It's not really a Mets hat. It's kind of this quasi hat that it's available in Asia, and it's popular in Asia. Let's see, and it's official Major League MLB merchandise. And when you go there, if you go to anywhere in Asia, you'll see tons of Yankee fans, Mets fans. You're like, wow, I didn't know that there were a lot of Yankees fans. But they're not necessarily. I don't even know if they know what baseball is, even though it's big in certain parts of Asia. But you would see a dummy, a mannequin with a Yankee hat and a Boston Red Sox shirt, which would never happen in, what would you say, in reality. And so this is quasi-Mets, but real Mets fans can be like, what are those colors, Tom? They don't make sense. So I am a Mets fan, and we had the 69 Mets on our show, as you guys all know. And the last I heard, the Mets were... So last week, the Mets were terrible. They are a professional baseball team, and I think they are one of the most expensive teams, meaning they spent a lot of money on talent, and they are also in last place. And all of a sudden, there's a little bit of hope, and that's what gets the Mets. They give you a little hope, and then they destroy your heart. Okay, let me catch up. Wow, a lot of things. Okay, no. Oh, Len, why did you have to tell me that? The Mets just blew the lead. Yes, Lynn. Lynn, I found the delicious treat you gave me and then lost it again. So I found it and then lost it. But it is here. That was a good sign. I can't even remember what it was, but it was great. Let's see this. Karen Jack. Tom. I'll bring that up because that sounds like an insult. And yet, it is a compliment. You are our favorite dumpster diver, Tom. Saving those scripts and photos was epic. Very thankful you did. Yes, I am too as well. Hi, Michelle from Georgia. I don't recognize your name. Are you new here? That's very good. First 80 degrees here in Michigan. Sue, yes, that's kind of rare. Hello, Deb. The bigger table scene, the final shot shows the family at breakfast after Marie's stove broke down with Ray saying, we need a bigger table. Was that line always the intended final send-off, or did you write alternative endings? Deb, yes, I believe that was, so shall we get into the finale? Shall we get into all of that information? Let's say a few more hellos, because once I start chatting, then it might be trouble. Did Anna have a problem with your friendship with Ray at first because you were a swinging single guy? Yeah. So that's a very good question. We are extremely close friends. I don't think anyone with three kids at the time really wants their husband to be 3,000 miles away, starring in a TV show, living with a guy who is allowed to date. Because everything I've read is that when you're married, you're not allowed to date. So was it? It wasn't really strained in that regard. Again, I wrote the Young Girl episode based on a real life story, and the presentation of the wives to Tom was much different than the presentation of the wives to their own husbands. So that is my way of saying I don't know if Anna had a problem, but she certainly didn't express it to me directly. All right, I'm scrolling through. Let's go through this. Let's go to this and see what we have here. Okay. Yeah, those are thumbnails. Okay, very good. Excellent question, though, Karen Kraft. I love it. Okay. Hi from New Hampshire. Hi, Sue. Was the greased turkey one take? It was the best ever. She did 2 takes of that. It was completely planned. Patricia Heaton nailed it. She did it. Okay. Watching you on one iPad and watching Eros Raymond on another. Interesting, Suzanne Brown. That's called multitasking. The hospital ending. Hi, Deb. I'll bring you up in a second. The gauntlet has been lifted. I see. What is that shadow from? That's interesting. Verner's, what is it? Let's bring that up to start a little bit of a competition. Verner's, is that Verner's? Ginger ale is the best Detroit here. Okay, so is that a Detroit drink? I've never heard of Verner's in my life. What's amazing to me is the amount of different foods that there are in the world that you've never heard of that are very provincial, and people, it's like they grew up with it. They're like, how have you never heard of this? I know that when I was speaking at a college in Grand Rapids, Michigan, they have nut butter, I think is that what it's called? Peanut butter, and it's a great label, etc. Never heard of it. Very interesting. Okay, so we'll have to try Verner's ginger ale. Add that to the list of things that we must try. All right, let's talk, everybody. And I did bring a special thing here. So, Deb, I didn't forget about your question. I have a little treat here. This is when the show is nominated for an Emmy, the production company, let's say HBO in this case, sends out this. Okay, these are the old days, folks. This is called a DVD. Put it next to your 8-track tape and your reel-to-reel and your cassette tape. This is what was sent out. Let me see for Instagram folks. Oh, I haven't said hi to Instagram folks. This is sent out, and you pick, I can't remember how many episodes, you pick like 4 episodes maybe, something like that. That is a photograph I took. It is not the final episode. And we even had to blur a little bit of the audience because I think this is in our book. This is the last page of our book. Do I have the book handy? I have so much Raymond stuff around me, but I don't have the book. Okay. So this is Everybody Loves Raymond, Last Laughs. And did it work sending this out? I think so, because the show won an Emmy for Best Show. So here we go. That, if you can find them on eBay, it's a collection of 4 episodes, I think. I can't remember, and I don't want to open it because it's sealed in plastic. And for those collectors, which I'm not really a collector, even though I have every script, I'm not really a collector. But there you go, the final push for The Last Laugh for the end of the series. Okay, let's do a little bit of framing, as I like to say. When I have guests on here, if they get to specifically in the weeds, they say, inside baseball, you lose half the audience. When you go, and Bill came up to me and he said, boy, it's a good thing we're doing a second tag, right? And you go, Tom, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, let's check a couple of more things. Let's see, bada bing, bada boom, bada ding, da 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 da. Okay. Let me see. Let me see about, yes, the crossword puzzle. I saw it yesterday. I have to do it. I'm doing so many things. Let's see. Oh yeah, let me see this Instagram. Let's see if anybody Instagram watching Raymond on the channel. Hi, Alfred. Okay, let me scroll way back up. Joe, listening to you getting everything ready during the show makes me want to hear the Mr. Clown Show. Yes, that's our PBS series called Hello, Hi, How Are You? It's a Muppets type series on pbs.org. Hello, hi, how are you? It is a fun time. Hello, Stuart, Florida. Wow, catching up. Okay, the finale. Deb Tucker Frank. The final line, as far as I know. So Phil, let's go back. The show has to end, and there's a lot of. Why did the show have to end? Why have a finale? Why aren't we still in the air? My accountant asks me that all the time. Why aren't you still in the air, Tom? Peter Boyle's health was not doing well. Phil and Ray had decided, let's end the series at the end of season 8. And then CBS said, please come back for season 9. Ray and Phil were both like Phil Rosenthal, for you to know, is the creator of the show and showrunner. Showrunner is a fancy Hollywood term for the head writer. Basically, everything creative goes through the showrunner. In the old days, Norman Lear would be a showrunner. Phil and Raymond, Phil Rosenthal and Raymond. I wonder where Phil is now. Phil might be down in Tasmania or Australia. I don't know. He's on tour. They want to go out on top. So you guys, we all have favorite shows where you go, well, it went kind of downhill after season whatever, or I hated that finale, or the show just wasn't the same. Now, I posted a picture of the writers earlier. I think 5 of the writers were there from the very beginning to the very end, which is extremely unusual. What happens in Hollywood is you work on a hit show and your agents say, hey, I didn't get this, so don't be alarmed. We're going to give you a multi-million-dollar deal from this company if you leave the show and develop your own sitcom. And they did that to Phil Rosenthal. And Phil Rosenthal took the money from this deal, which was millions and millions of dollars, and then he said, you know what? I think I'm going to give back every dime of that money and stay on Everybody Loves Raymond, because how often do I get a chance to create a show that I am the head writer of and that is very resonant of my own life? So Phil had what's known as a development deal, gave back the money and stayed with the show until the very end. So what's the significance, Tom? The same writers from beginning to end, a large portion. We had some that came and went, etc. But I think there were 5 that were initially there. I came in about 2 weeks into the start of the show. I was Ray's guy, who he kind of asked to be on the show. And then there were others that came later in the show. Aaron Shore came in season 3. I think Mike Royce might have come in season 4, something like that. And so to have that consistency for the entire series is very, very rare. And I think you see it in that when you watch season 9 and you watch Pat's Secret, where Pat smokes, that's as funny an episode as the show ever had. And that's almost the end. And so I think when you watch some shows and you go, hey, why did they become terrible? A lot of it is the head writer leaves, other writers leave, there's fighting with the star becomes crazy and it's like, fire all the writers, I want to do this myself. Not an uncommon thing. Okay, so now Phil and Ray don't want the show to go downhill. CBS is like, if you guys do another season, we'll give you so much money that you won't even be able to turn it down. And Phil and Ray were like, well, it's really not about the money. And I know for most of us who need money all the time, I haven't met a lot of people who are like, you know what, I don't need any more money. They're like, well, it's not really about the money because we don't want this to go downhill. And so they negotiated with CBS. And CBS said, give us, Phil, I think, whatever. He can tell the exact story. As well as he can remember it. But it was something like Phil saying, I can give you 10 episodes. And CBS said, what about 20? And they went back and forth and settled on the 16. And at this point, Phil had already thought of what could that finale be? The significance of the finale is it's the last episode, so you could kill Ray. You could kill the lead. Any other time in the series, if you go, oh my gosh, the lead character went into the hospital, and you're sitting back, you're eating your chips, and you're going, well, they're not going to kill him. They're not going to kill the lead character. I know that. But in this one, they really could. So emotionally, it's not a false, let me see. Oh, hold on. Let me take this. Sorry, I actually decided to go live. Okay, let me see. Starter, bread. These are texts, folks. I didn't check. For those of you that don't know me, I make bread every day for the past 25 years. Is that right? Yes. So not COVID, but 2001, I started making bread. And then I give a lot of bread away, and I make 2 loaves every day at least. And I left some starter at my friend, and he had some starter questions. We can have bread talk anytime you want also. All right. So the finale, could they kill the lead? Yes, they could. So I think the idea was to make it an ordinary episode. I'd be curious if you guys write what your favorite finales were. You know, there's some that are crazy famous finales. Some are crazy famous for not being good. A lot of the shows take too big of a swing and try and make it. And I think the beauty of the finale of Raymond, as Phil envisioned it, is so many people have written on our page, on the ELR 360 page, hey, which one was the finale? Couldn't be a better comment, because that means it's like a regular episode. It's not this crazy, Deborah moves away and she decides to open a bread and breakfast alone and have time alone and hook up with Gianni or Andy or whoever she makes brajol for. So that was the idea. So now we sat in the writer's room to try and make as many episodes as possible before the end of the series. And I think if I was trying to think today, what would it be like if I could express this to you guys? Think of your best job that you've ever had. And I hope some of you had a job that you enjoyed going to and didn't have a job that was similar to going into a coal mine and hating the work and waiting for the whistle to blow. On Raymond, obviously, we were thinking of funny things, a way to make people laugh. And so we were in the writer's room all the time laughing. And we got really, really well paid for that. And we were on a hit show, so there were a lot of perks, et cetera. And if you like doing comedy and like making people laugh, it couldn't have been more of a dream. So we, all of the writers, everybody on the set, did not want the show to end. Only Phil Rosenthal and Ray Romano wanted the show to end. So we fought, the writers. We sat there and we go, what about this idea, Phil? And he'd say, nope, nope, nope. Not because he was stubborn. It was just like, I feel like we're going to repeat ourselves with this story. And we've done a lot. And the added thing of Peter Boyle is not doing well. And we knew that. We didn't know why he wasn't doing well. He did not disclose what was wrong with him, but he was having trouble. If you noticed in the later scenes, he is sitting down. And it's very heartbreaking when you become close to Peter, and he was such a giant figure, an imposing figure. And so just to see him towards the end, was very tough. And I'm sure for his family as well. So we sit there, we pitch desperately. Phil, what about this to save my job? What about this to save my job? To give me one more week's pay. And so even in the highfalutin, we want to make a grand statement, not go out and make the show worse. There's also the pragmatic thing of 130 people will be unemployed the day after we stop filming. So we don't come up with any more than 16. Phil was very nice. We all contributed. Everybody could contribute to a script. Let's just talk about that, how it works. If you had an idea, for example, Jazz Records is an episode that I wrote. My father accused me of ruining all of his jazz records. I brought that into Phil, and he said, oh, that could be a good story. And so I wrote the outline, and everybody has an influence on the outline, which is 2-page of what happens in each scene. Then you go off and write the first draft, and then Phil looks at it, gives you notes, and you write another one. Then it goes to the room, as we say. So everybody in the room reads that script, and they give notes, and they come up with funny jokes. for your script, but it still says written by Tom Caltabiano, even though Steve Scrovan or Mike Royce or Tucker Crawley may have the funniest joke in my script, and vice versa. And it's kind of uncouth and lowbrow and a sign of insecurity when you tell people which jokes are yours in shows. So here is a joke of mine in All I Want for Christmas, when the family comes in and Raymond tries to hide parts of him with the wreath, and Robert says, "Nice, we usually hang ours on the door." That was a line that I came up with. Now, you know that Steve Scrovan, who wrote that script, is going to come up with also 20 funny lines that end up in my script. So you don't go, Steve, give me it just it's incomprehensible to say I should get a writing credit because of a joke, because you know everybody's going to contribute to everybody's script. So now we're at the finale, and Phil's like, I am going to push and make sure everyone's name is on that finale. It presents a problem for the Writers Guild, etc. It's kind of fair in a way. We all contributed. It was Phil's idea. Ray contributed. Everyone contributed. So that was a nice gesture. And if you buy the DVD extra set, there's a signed script that looks just like this. I'm not going to give it away. Oh, look. It looks like this, only it's, hit the mic, signed by everybody. So now it's time for the finale. Let's catch up on let's see how the Mets blew the game. Let me go back and try and answer. What if I do this? Can I do this? But then I'll be looking in profile. Oh, I know. I can bring Instagram there. Wow, I'm looking in profile. If I move this monitor, you're going to hear some noise and some, okay. That's still, let me see there. Sorry, for those of you that what I'm looking at is Instagram, you literally just see my ears from either side of my ears, a very narrow frame. Look at these questions. During season 3, episode 18, was Patricia Heaton on maternity leave? Deborah was not in the episode. Patricia was very pregnant during some of the episodes. Yes, let me go. Oh, can I go? Why won't it let me scroll up there? That's interesting. Okay. Let's go back to here, and then there, and then maybe that. Oh, yeah, there we go. Yes, Patty gave birth. Let me see this. Complex Drive. Okay, so yes, Patricia Heaton was pregnant. We call her Patty because that's what she goes by, Patty. Don't call her Pat. That would annoy her. I think I've called her Pat once, but only once. She was pregnant season 1 and season 3. In season 1, Ray and I wrote the season finale for season 1 called Why Are We Here? How Did They Get Into That House? And we built her pregnancy into the show, into that episode. In season 3, she was pregnant during the middle of the season, and she was a trooper. We tried to hide as much of her as possible. And people are like, well, why didn't you just have the baby? Because that's not the storylines that Phil wanted to tell. Her being pregnant, dealing with that was just not, we've already had the kids, etc., and we didn't want to make it about the kids. Sorry. Phil and Ray didn't want to make it about the kids. So there you go. Okay, let me scroll down. Excellent question. I don't want to lose track of the finale. Does anybody know what was comprised of the yellow paint that Robert sprayed on Marie at the end of the episode where they paint the house? Ray's house. Yes, is it Complex Drive? Yeah, Complex Drive. That's a new name. For us, does anybody know? I know the answer. It was, I think it's a children's paint. Is it tempera paint? And it was thinned out. That is according to Rhonda Robinson, who was the head of props, who had to do that and spray Doris Roberts, which was done on one take. And going back to the question before, the car going through the house, that was done on one take in front of the live audience. And the day before, without a live audience, just in case something bad happened, in front of the live audience. So there you go. All right, let's take a breath, Tom. Tempera paint, yes. Why did they put the dining room table in the living room when they have a dining room at Marie and Frank's home? Why do they put, yes, hi, Deborah. Generally, if you're at home and you're going, that doesn't make sense, there's a very good chance it's done for camera, okay? So if it's done for camera, what does that mean? that means there's not going to be coverage of the people if there's too many people with the cameras, because the cameras are all like I'm looking at a camera, and all the cameras have to be out that way. There's no fourth wall. So that's generally the reason why. It's also why you don't see deep into the house, because the cameras can't get there. You have to then build another set. So there you go. Excellent, excellent questions. Okay, let me scroll down and catch up on the, just watched the model episode where Robert, yes, was that based on real life experience? If so, who did it happen to? Yeah, that was a Leslie Cavaney script. I know Steve Scrovan talked about that happened, I think, when he was in Cleveland. And I have a friend, my friend who I know, who I wrote the episode called Robert Needs Money. It was that same friend who was not, he's actually the most responsible person I know. But I had an idea for that show based on that. He has two adorable kids. And he said, Tom, I was approached by this modeling agency and whatever the name was. And all they need is, $2,000. And I mean, and what they do is they say, your kid's adorable. They see him at a mall. They go, would you like to earn $4,000 a day? And the parents are like, sure. And like, okay, we've been around forever. We're this modeling agency, et cetera. So not a scam, but kind of a scam, because you had to pay money up front. And so that, that was kind of a, here, what am I trying to say? I don't remember if Leslie said that, because it didn't happen to her. But yes, based on, let's say, a lot of anecdotal stuff. I could see you and Instagram and on my phone now. Okay, let me scroll down. Now back over to here, looking at two different monitors. Very good. Are we liking this time, everybody? Are we liking this time? We're going to run out of time, is what I see. Speaking of time. Okay, let's go back here. At no point did you ever think they would kill off Ray. When I watched the finale in 2005. But all these years later, still makes me just as emotional the first time I saw it. Yes, and I think we had a friend of ours who was a writer who wrote on the show for a couple of episodes, and his wife had died. And one of the things, not rushing through that, she had a long illness and then she had died. And what he was saying is what really got him is the banal day-to-day existence and the normal things that you remember when you lose somebody. So when Deborah's recounting in bed those things, it's the most ordinary things that really get to you. When you start thinking about that person, not being around. Boy, I really need my tea, but it's in the other room. Hi, Tony Trevisan. I'm trying to say that in normal. Tony. Is that correctly? I think it's not. I didn't make it as pretty as that sound could be. Did you, the writers, think you still had plenty of ideas? I don't. So there was no idea that everyone in the writers' room was like, we have to do that show. Like the baggage episode was an idea that Tucker Cawley lived through in person with his delightfully nice wife, Eileen. And Steve Scrovan had the lateness episode, for example, where it's like the arguments about being late, and the AIS episode. There were no episodes that people were throwing out where we're like, Phil, this is gold. This is an Emmy winner. What are you doing? It was always like, well, I remember pitching a story about Ray having a dream, or somebody having a dream and worried that it's going to come true. And one of the writers, Mike Scully, is like, yeah, I think they did that on Taxi. And then here, just in full disclosure, that model episode was phenomenal. And Ray and I were doing a stand-up comedy tour after the show. We were in so where were we? In Binghamton, New York. And we drove all the way back to the Riga Royal Hotel, which is no longer there, in Manhattan. And Seinfeld was on. And we're watching Seinfeld, and I think there's George with a fan blowing on him, modeling. And we're like, wow, that's exactly like the episode we did. Now, I didn't see the whole episode, but there was the danger, and I say this a lot. I Love Lucy, there was no precedent. I'm not taking anything away from them. I Love Lucy time, 1951, 52. Anything you thought of, you didn't have to go, well, did they do that on, that girl? Did they do that on, name any show that came afterwards? So there was, in the writer's room, thinking of the shows, there was no show that jumped out at us. We were like, come on, Phil, let's do another one, because that's a great idea. Now, having said that, I remember Jeremy Stevens, one of our writers, went to Russia to do continue doing Raymond there. And he said he had a great story idea, and I cannot remember it, but he's like, that was a great story idea. I'll have to see if the other writers can remember it, especially when we're all going to be together in not many days, 14 days, 2 weeks, in, where was it? The Austin TV Festival, ATX. The Austin TV Festival, May 30th, there. Why did the twins change? Okay, hi, Lorianne. Yes, I can tell these are a lot of new people. The twins changed because they were actually triplets, and Phil felt they had gotten too old, and they had the girl already, Madeline Sweeten. They're like, oh, we could use everyone from the same family. That would be good. And people are like, well, it's hard to believe because Ray would not have a blonde daughter on TV because they both have dark hair, and Ray's real-life wife and he have dark hair, and their daughter's blonde. Okay, by the time they shot the second episode after the pilot, the original twins showed. Yes, thank you, Michelle. I love it. Okay, Paul, this is a long one. I'm going to click on your thing. In the modeling episode that you just talked about, I felt that there was the only episode that wasn't resolved. The agent got away with scamming Robert. I was hoping that in the very last episode, it would fade to black, then reopen, and Robert's police sitting, busting open a door and arresting the agent in the middle of a scammer, scamming someone else. How cool would that be? Robert gets his revenge and his money back. That is a great idea. That would be too long of a callback, we call it. So a lot of times in the tag, there's an episode I wrote called, this is probably the most I've mentioned episodes that I wrote of any time in the past 5 years. What is the name of the episode I wrote? I can't remember. The article where they have the argument about the, what is it called? English muffins. Fork split English muffins, the big fork split argument. Do you guys remember that? And at the end, Frank is looking at the newspaper and it's shredded, and Marie goes, fork split. That's what's called a callback, where you refer to something that happened in the show. Your idea, Paul, is a great one. But for us to go back to that would have taken people out, and they would have to remember the model episode. It would have been cool, at the end of the model, Ray's upset about the photography, them criticizing the photography. So could you have done it then? Maybe, but I think emotionally, emotionally would be good to service Robert that way. But the sense of justice, I don't think most of the audience was concerned about that. They were more concerned about poor Robert. Yes. Hi, Rita Burns. I think I like the Jazz Records episode. What is my favorite episode that I wrote? I really enjoyed Jazz Records. I enjoyed Young Girl because it was so close to reality. Jazz Records was close to reality. Ray and I wrote Why Are You Here together, the season 1 finale. That was enjoyable because that was the first script that Ray wrote or I wrote, etc. Hi, Marie Stanko. Hi, Tommy. I'm late getting on, but happy to catch some of the call. Interesting. I'd like to know about the tofu turkey. What was that made of? It was made of a gelatin and soy type of ingredient, something like that. All right. The finale. Holy moly, we are going to run out of time, Tom. We are going to run out of time. Let's talk about the finale, shall we? Phil decides that's the story that's going to be told. We know when it's going to be filmed. And so there's a weird normalcy because all of the episodes have been for the last 9 years. You work and then you go again the next week and you start again and start again. And then you realize, oh, I'm not going to see these people again. So when we were doing the final episode, which rehearsal, and I posted some pictures. Let me see, where's my phone now? I posted some pictures. Oh, it's tied in the 10th inning. That's a very good thing. Let me see this. So let me go here. What I'm doing right now is going into Instagram. So will that focus? Yes. So there we go. There's everybody cheerful because it's just another rehearsal. And Tom, your head is... It's just another rehearsal, so it's just like another rehearsal, meaning the magnitude of the end of the series is not really hitting because it just feels like another work week. And the beauty of it is that, and here's the writers, let me see, what is this? Like here, that's, that feels like, Patty's just lounging on the bed, which you never saw anybody do. You would do the scene, rehearse, move, and go because Patty had 4 kids and wanted to go home. So there she's looking at the Everybody Loves Raymond, Our Family album book and relaxing. When it came time to shoot the final episode, and many of you know this, but some of you don't, Patricia Heaton came in and she had no voice. And the amount of press and the amount of prep for this final shooting day was astounding because there was press from around the world. It was a big thing. So it was in your head when you go, oh, this can't be. We have to. It's kind of like, when COVID shut down, I remember reading, when COVID happened, and they shut down Venice. And I remember thinking, you can't just shut down a whole town. That's crazy. Venice too, it's a big tourist. That can't be true. And not knowing that the world was going to shut down. It was just incredulous. So when Patty came in, the thought of not shooting the show that day was incomprehensible because all of the press was there. There's a wrap party planned. There's a schedule for the stage. Eventually someone's going to take over that stage. There's a lot of wheels in motion. So the idea that show would not be filmed that night was preposterous. So Patty, everybody's in the makeup room, and I think I've shown you guys plenty of photos. For those of you that haven't seen, let me see if I can find, here we go. Okay, so that is rehearsal. That is rehearsal in the hair and makeup room. And so we all gathered there, and you can see, by the way, this on the documentary called The Last Laugh. The Last Laugh is about the final episode of Ever's Raymond, and it's a great, great framing of what happened. We are all in there in the hair and makeup room, and you hear Ray like, get her a glass of water, and Rory Rosegarden, get her a bottle of water. And so she's like, Ray, and Ray's like, Phil's like, we can't do the show. We can't do the show. It's impossible to do the show. So Phil and Ray go, okay, let's go out there together and make the announcement. And they're going to think it's unusual that we are going out there together, meaning Phil and Ray going out together. Well, the audience, when Phil and Ray walked out into the front of the live audience, Phil goes, they're going to know that something's unusual here. But, Phil was, for those fans, they knew he was the showrunner, so they walk out. And Phil or Ray says, there's no show tonight. Patty lost her voice. Big laugh. Everyone's like, well, he has to be kidding. He must be kidding. He can't be telling the truth. They're not going to cancel the show. And sure enough, they got through and said, no, we really can't. I'm plugging in my power here. There we go. Okay, we can stay live. So Patty comes out. She bursts into tears. Phil puts his arm around her for 1 second, and then she runs off because she was overcome with emotion. Because why? It's a big thing when you cost somebody millions of dollars. That's kind of a joke, but a lot of people, a lot of it was riding on that finale, and it went away. So we decide when I say we, it's the show. They're going to have to reschedule. So the whole cast comes out and talks to people and answers questions. Eventually, Patty gathers herself. Now here's the whole cast, and there's a Q&A session with all the audience, and then everybody goes home. And then we go, okay, now we have to wait for Patty to heal. So they try and schedule it for a few days later on a Sunday. Still not enough time. They reschedule it again. Now, for me personally, the significance is this. The gentleman who did the Last Laugh episode, he, and here, okay, I just found that, so let's do that. That is when Phil is comforting Patty, and then she runs off the stage. Let me see there for Instagram people. Patty is in tears. Phil is holding on to her. She runs off stage, and then the whole cast comes out and does a Q&A session. The show is rescheduled again. Patty's in fine voice, because let's face it, people, if 20 years from now you're watching the show and the final show and Patty's like, okay, Ray, it would take you out, as we would say. Something that takes you out of a scene is, if somebody has a cold too, you're like, oh, she has a cold. So now, one of the weird things is we have a wrap party planned, a big wrap party. What is the wrap party? It's the end of the season, and HBO, we are a giant hit now, so they spend a lot of money on a wrap party. So they go, listen, we're not going to get our deposit back. Let's just do the wrap party. So we go to Hollywood and Highland, next to where they do the Oscars, and it is a giant event, and it's covered floor to ceiling with my photos, as big as a billboard. Photos all over. It was great to see that. Even photos that are postcards that are glued to the mirrors in the bathroom. Giant party, and we'll never see you again, except for we're going to see you Monday because we have to go back to work. So now the time finally comes. It's the finale. It goes, we've been rehearsing for 2 weeks, and usually you only get to rehearse for 4 days. So now everybody's got their lines down, and the finale goes without a hitch. And one thing on a personal level, I remember we are sitting there. I think we're going to do the Ray and Deborah kitchen scene, and I'm sitting on the couch in the living room because those lights are down, and I'm just sitting on the arm of the couch, and Patty comes over, and I just welled up with tears for no reason other than I was a wimp and I couldn't handle the emotion. And it shocked me, because what I realized is, it's 9 years of being with all these people, and then it's poof, it's going to be gone. And it just snuck up on me, and I think it snuck up on a lot of people, where you didn't, because it felt so ordinary just shooting the show every day. Then all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is the last day. We shoot the show, and then, this was a great thing that came out of it, we have a wrap party, and the wrap party is on stage. So what's the significance, Tom? Who cares? Well, when you have a wrap party with a big company like HBO, a lot of people go to your wrap party who you've never seen in your life. But because we're shooting on stage and it's very secure, the wrap party is just us. It's just the writers, family, etc., and everybody gives a speech. I will post Mark Sweet, who did the audience warm-up, and myself. We came out and introduced Raymond, who gave a great speech, Phil Rosenthal, who gave a great speech, and we just had a great time on stage with just us. And was that it? It was over? No, it wasn't over, because then it had to air. So when we were filming the finale, it was January 24th or 25th, something like that, of January. I remember, if you look up the day Johnny Carson died, I remember me, Brad Garrett, and Ray going into Larry's craft service area because the news came on his little TV that Johnny Carson had died. And again, just a reminder, there was no such thing as this. No iPhones. There was no iPhones. The series would be much different with iPhones, because you could text to clear up any confusion. So Tom, it's not the end. Why? Because there's going to be a giant party, courtesy of CBS, at Barker Hangar at Santa Monica Airport. A lot of photos you see online of the set are from that party. I don't know why. You'll see the set, and it's a weird lighting, and it's not quite right. Then, is that it, Tom? No. For the final episode airing May 16th, 2005, Raymond is going to do Letterman. They're going to ring in the New York Stock Exchange in the morning, do Letterman, do something at the Museum of Radio and Television, which is the Paley Center, for those of you who went last year to see the Paley Center exhibit. And then that night, downtown, I can't remember the name of the hotel, in Battery Park, not far from the site of 9/11, all of us gathered in a big room at this hotel, the cast, etc. And by the way, they did morning shows as well that morning, the cast. You can look those up. We watched Letterman, and then we watched the finale of the show all together, and the Last Laugh 1-hour documentary about the ending of the show. And that was really the last time we were all together when everybody was with us, so to speak, because Peter Boyle went downhill, unfortunately, pretty rapidly, and Ray, Phil, and John Manfrotati and I, we all visited. We saw Peter in his house in New York, and then Ray and I went to his hospital bed towards the end, etc. So that was kind of the scope of the end, the finale with the finale, and then the finale. Okay, so let me see. I did write. Let me see. Okay. Tom, that is my name. Okay, Tom sent some notes to himself. There's nothing more annoying than somebody referring to themselves in third party. Okay, let me see. It's such small print. Let me see. Dida-bang, dida-do, this. Here's a question about the finale. A lot of people ask. People are like, why didn't you announce that Robert and Amy were pregnant? That would have been great. And it would have been great. It would have been emotionally rewarding. It would have been phenomenal. But Phil wanted to do a spin-off of the series with Robert and Amy and Fred Willard and Georgia Engel, her parents, Hank and Pat, we know them as. So rather than have them be pregnant in the show, then you would, if the spinoff got picked up, which Phil thought, we're a top 10 show, a giant juggernaut of crazy, already proven that people like Robert and Amy, and there are not many people funnier than Fred Willard and Georgia Engel, Pat and Hank. They should at least give it a try. But CBS said, no thanks. Robert and Amy are too old. We don't want the show. There's the door, Phil. So would it have been great if Phil knew that the finale wasn't coming? And next time Phil's on, he can fill in some more details. But that was, as far as I know, the main reason. It's just a big piece of information. And if you're going to do a spinoff, you want that to happen. You really do want that to happen. Let me see this. Let me scroll up. I'm catching up when you guys are talking. Yes, that happy brotherless boy. Let me see this. Catching up, watching people. Whoa. The Hot Wheels, yes. That's the wedding, yes. Just realized that the twins' preschool teacher, Miss Sarah, was in Dead to Me. She is hilarious and a fantastic thing. 10th anniversary, did someone really tape? Hi, Suzanne Brown. Yes, that did happen to Aaron Shore. Thank you, everybody. He copied his wedding. He erased his wedding with an episode of Everybody Loves Raymond. Yes, the spinoff would be epic. It's still, it's still not too late. But I don't know why. For some reason, forget CBS. CBS was nice enough to put the show on the air and champion it when it had really low ratings and kept it on the air when it could have been canceled. But I don't know why multi-camera sitcoms, that's Friends, Everybody Loves Raymond, Seinfeld, Mary Tyler Moore, they're just not making them. And it feels like, look, we're talking about the show 25 years later, and it feels like people want them still. People still want them. All right, do I want to, what else from the finale? Do we want to guess this one? I thought the finale. So here, just for our friends who have never seen me before and are like, I don't know who this guy is. Still, I find him off-putting, a know-it-all, and what else can we say? Something. This is a 3-ring binder. Okay, that says what? What does that say? Okay, Tom, see, it wants to grab my eyes, the focus of the camera. Season 9, book number E. Okay, folks, I'm not an expert on everything, but I know A, B, C, D, E, okay? 5 books, 5 of these books just for season 9. What's in the book, Tom? Funny you should ask. Let me see. They are what's known in the old days as film. And on film, when you shot a lot of photos, professional photographers, you would shoot, I don't know what's on this one, you would shoot a lot. So that is Z10 Finale 03. So that's my internal code when we did the book. So let's see what, I can't tell, I have to hold this up to see what's on there. Okay, oh, that's this, yes, it's obviously the finale. How do I make this full screen? It's too hard to see. Okay, I'll stop moving it. So it's the final episode. There's Peter in the hospital. That is me and Patty. There's Phil giving notes. Let's see this. Yes, Peter there. Oh, outside the stage, stage 5. Why is it a different color, Tom? Because one is indoor with tungsten lighting, so it's lacking the blue spectrum. So they have to add the blue when they develop, but the blue added there makes the outside look really blue. There you go. A little photography lesson. Let me see. Can I go down even more? There's Ellen, our script supervisor. Sorry if you're getting seasick from this, folks. It is my fault. Okay, so why are you killing us, Tom, with this shaky camera work? This is one of the many proof sheets I have from the final episode. And because Patty lost her voice, I was able to use a camera that I'd never used before, a wide angle camera that now Jeff Bridges is doing one similar called a Widelux. And I, the guy who did the documentary, oh, he's right there. Let me give him a shout out. He was sick as a dog. There he is. Jonathan Buss is in that photo. If you look up Jonathan Buss, he did the final Last Laugh episode, and he had a camera, and he's showing me these photos. He was there for a few weeks. He's there with Harry Tarski, who was friends with Phil and Monica, an older gentleman who came to every episode. That looks like Raymond sitting on the steps. There's Jonathan, sick as a dog he was for the last episode, poor guy. So he had, oh, there's Patty who, let me see, this is right side up. I think she was filming with her own camera. All right, Tom, what's the significance? Jonathan is showing me these photos of panoramic of the set, and I'm like, these are amazing. And I said, what is the camera? He said, oh, it's a Widelux camera, it's called. And I said, oh, Patty lost her voice. I have an extra week. So I ran out and found one at Sammy's Camera, but they didn't have that one. They had a German one called the Noblex. And so that one, I shot 2,000 photos the last week, the panoramic black and white film photos that I showed you. Okay, let me see this. Hold on, folks. Let me go to Facebook because it's hard to show it otherwise. Am I live? Yes, there I am live. Okay, so I kind of truncated these, kind of cut them off. But let me see this, that's me. Okay, so this photo in real life is a much wider photo, but that's a panoramic film camera. And thanks to Patty losing her voice, I was able to capture so many moments like this. The moment I just showed you of Phil comforting Patty here. This is that's a wide angle. That's why I know anything you see, folks, that I post, that's a wide angle, black and white. I have to get my head out. That is, sorry, Instagram, there we go. That is from the last 2 weeks because I just didn't have the camera earlier. Then, now we're going down, finale, final. There I am holding a medium format camera. There is Peter Boyle. See, I did not lie. There is Patty filming. She's in bed filming. So Patty has some footage that none of us have ever seen. There's me shooting Patty in the mirror with that medium format camera. And there, I can't even tell, what is that? Let me pull this off. Oh, here's a rare shot. It's blue, like I said. But there, backwards reverse image in a mirror. There is Doris Roberts walking on the lot. I will post that picture. To see her outside of the stage, even for me, was bizarre to see her walking, because she only seemed to exist in Frank and Marie's kitchen, which is good. So this, yeah, medium format, okay. Yeah, okay, that's the last table scene. There's Raymond relaxing, and there's the last table scene. So, why am I showing you all these, Tom? Haven't you bored us enough with the other things? No. By the time I was filming this, taking these photos, the book had already been published. So many of these photos I have not looked at since the day I got them developed and put them in the book, put them in this book that I'm holding. Why? Because there was no urgency. It was already done. The show, the book was finished, so there was nothing to do with these photos. And thank goodness for the creation of Facebook, Instagram. I can share those photos with everybody from around the world. A joy. All right. Should I wrap it up? We're having so much time. I will be here on Sunday. Again, for those of you that are like, again, this guy, who is he? Every Sunday since the beginning of COVID, I have joined and answered questions about Raymond, and we have guests, etc. The fly, yes. Let me see. Let me scroll back. When I say yes, I'm just agreeing with something. Mona didn't like The Fly. I had a random ELR thought today. I am definitely more Lois than Marie as a grandmother. And Janet, did you send me the tea? Were you on there when I was shouting out about the tea? I believe so. I have everything. Don't worry, folks. It's just I have so much going on. Let me see this. Okay, yes. Patricia Grimaldi. Any relationship to the pizza family? I always thought it was funny how the whole family was in the waiting room for Ray's outpatient procedure. When I had my knee replaced, my husband dropped me off at the door and went to work. Okay, now, is that a statement about, I had to lean back just to show that I could. Is that a statement about your relationship? Is that a statement about the normalcy of surgery nowadays? I think, and a lot of these things happen where people go, what was somebody just pointed out something, and they're like, this is it's just fantasy. So it always is, could this happen? So could you believe that Robert was taken by a modeling company? Absolutely. I have a friend who, he was my roommate years ago living in New Jersey, and he went to buy a boat, a rowboat, a John boat they call it, because we lived on a little lake. Lake Tranquility, it's called. And he went to get it, and the guy said, yeah, it's $400. Here, pull your Jeep around and do this. Gave him $400, pulled the Jeep around, and the guy was gone. And so he felt so hoodwinked, and his father was a policeman in real life, and he just felt so duped, but the guy was great. You know, he was very convincing. And once you get greed, once you tell Robert, etc. So the thing that often comes up is Robert was a policeman. How did he not have money? He has to have money. You know, there's a lot of ways to spend and not have money. A really bad divorce really helps in that way. Etc. So, all right, let me scroll. Let's do some final things. Patricia Grimaldi, normalcy of surgery, but he would not have done well waiting. He was better off at work. Yeah, so I mean, a lot, etc. Okay, Canadians and Sabre. Okay, hold on, they're coming in too fast and furious. Canadian Sabres are going into overtime. So am I. But thanks and good luck to the Canadians. Thanks for sharing these great Prince photos. Heading to bed, 10:20. I get up at 4:45 a.m. That is very, very early. That is extremely early. I get up around 4:30. Okay, so for those of you that haven't seen, here is the original container. This is the canister. Let me get rid of this one. Yes, and pull up that one. There you go, Michelle. So, for those of you who go, what does that have to do with anything? Well, we know what the canister has to do. In the writer's room, we had a test of cookies. And I'm continuing that tradition by testing something. Let me see what we have. Lynn Van Orden, I'm going to find your snack, post a picture of it. Okay, what do we have? We have, oh, this has been like a run lately. We have the Ritter, here, let me do for product placement. There we go. The Ritter, let me cover the New York thing for Boston fans here. The Ritter Cocoa Mousse. Wow. That sounds, oh, you know what I did last time though? And I might do it this time as well. I didn't bring a napkin. And so I think maybe I think we'll play Guess the Script next week on Sunday. Because we're just gonna, people are dropping like flies. Gil in the UK has already passed out. Let me move these priceless photos away from the debris field of chocolate that happens when Tom tastes something. Okay, let me do this with surgical precision. So I rank them. I'm pretty easygoing on the rankings. Okay, hold on. Let's see this. Okay, and this. Yeah, I got to keep that Instagram frame. I'm under a lot of lights here, so this is not going to be crisp and cool. You know what I should do? I should put an ice pack in the canister, because I'm going to guess it's about 85 degrees where I'm sitting now. All right, the Ritter Cocoa Mousse. Oh yeah, this is not going to be pretty, folks. Let me look at. First of all, has anybody tried them? Let's go over to Instagram. Let's see if we have any Instagram comments. Oh, you know what I want to ask for those of you? I posted that video of me talking about a photo. I was going to do a bunch of those. I can do them longer, shorter. I can do a whole bunch about a minute, 2 minutes long. This is a very long, this is extremely long. You have to be a real fan to listen to me the whole time. Okay, I'm going to do my left hand. All right, this is what it, okay, I got to get my head out. Yeah, it's, sorry, Instagram. I don't know. How do I do this? Okay, if I cover my head, all right, it's going to fall onto my, I got to, I'm going out of the light. Chocolatey mousse. You don't taste the mousse as much as you would think. By the way, it's very, so the sound of chewing bothers some people, so you might want to cover your ears. So I like it. I haven't met many I don't like. The licorice surprise got me once. I'm going to give that like a 7.1 on my scale of 1 to 10. I like the dark chocolate with orange and nuts a lot better. So, by the way, it's also the time of day when you taste something. I met with Jan Filiu. Is that his name? The 7th generation blender for Hennessy. Didn't see that coming. They taste the cognac every day at the exact same time, so they have consistency. I am usually tasting this at 3 in the afternoon on a Sunday when I'm starving. And now it's, what time is it now? 7:30 and I'm starving. It's good. It's good. It's not as wow as that dark chocolate. Also, you know, dark chocolate is very healthy for you, so it's almost like it can, psychologically, you just feel like it's a very good thing. I actually thought my husband dropped me off was kind of a Ray move. Remember the Deborah stories, him during pregnancy and deliveries. Yeah. we're gonna have to revisit this relationship, especially if we do another series along along that line. All right, I have. This is the saddest thing when you have the mug and it's completely empty, because this. Yeah, see, I'm over my keyboard now, and it's sad because I could really use that. All right, final questions, everybody. I'm going to be posting so many pictures about what I talked about today. Don't forget to tell all your friends to join. I feel bad for the other Ed Rose Raymond sites, that some of them are phenomenal, lots of fans, and then others are all this AI stuff, which I'm like, how do people stay even on this site and enjoy being on that site? Okay, let's see this. Okay, Lynn, more videos. Okay, I have chocolate, so I'm handicapped to, I can only use one hand. More videos, just FYI, YouTube Shorts can be up to 3 minutes long, so that is a good target for the new videos. Donnell, always a font of information. Yes, the intent is to make those for YouTube Shorts, is our plan, because even though we are live right now on YouTube, the YouTube presence is not that big, and I feel like there is no end in the amount of visiting that I like to do with the fans, etc. So that is, Donnell, you, as usual, you are very much on top of it. Okay, now, let me see. So Kim, you went to your father's cataract surgery. I think it's always good. Look, part of the young girl's story is because I went back east because my father was having a quadruple bypass, and I was the only one there. So it all depends on your family, but I will say this: if you're feeling there's no place lonelier than a hospital, and so the more friends you have, the more the better you feel. Now, an outpatient thing, a colonoscopy, these are things that maybe you don't want a whole fan club there for, but in general, I always think it's better to have more people, but depends on, some people are not emotional, etc. All right, folks, do I look at the Mets score? Do I want to go into a depression? By the way, let's shout out to Annabelle, who I didn't mention anything. I didn't mention it, but Annabelle is highly visible in this photo. Let's see, does this turn? Oh, look at that. Okay. There is our fan, Annabelle, looking directly at the camera. And I am holding two of my cameras, and that's the finale. How do I know it's the finale? Because I was so busy that I usually would dress up somewhat, and I am not dressed up. When I say dressed up, like I'm wearing jeans and a sweater, which never happened. Is that interesting? Potentially. No, there's Tom for Instagram. And there is Annabelle right there with blonde hair at the finale. So an awesome little shout out, etc. Okay, folks, see you on Sunday. Keep your questions coming. I really appreciate it. I will see you guys all then.